Hello and welcome to the EdjSports NFL betting preview for the Divisional Round. I am your host, Ian O'Connor, Senior Data Analyst here at EdjSports. This week, I'll be taking a look at all four of the Divisional Round games. Considering there are only 4 games, we'll just cover each one, comparing our spread, totals, and moneyline values to the markets. Before doing so, though, just want to give you the usual reminders. You can catch me every Thursday throughout the NFL season, previewing the upcoming weekend's action. So we'll have this weekend. Next weekend, we'll have the conference championship game preview, just those 2 games, and then a brief Super Bowl preview as well leading up to the Super Bowl. I'll also be here every Monday morning where I'm joined by our VP of Data Science, Scott Brown, to recap the weekend's action and decision-making. And there will be no more betting previews for Monday Night Football, considering last week was the last Monday Night Football preview with the last Monday Night Football game of the season coming on Wild Card Weekend. You can catch us on the EdjSports Podcast Network on your podcast platform of choice for all of those shows. So please be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review. Also subscribe to our EdjSports YouTube channel, where you'll be able to catch those podcasts as well as our matchup previews and our coach rankings every week. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out our site at edjsports.com. That is EdjSports.com. And download our app, which is available for both iOS and Android. On both the app and our website, you can get pregame betting insights for every NFL game, including our fair value spreads and totals. And you have the ability to actually track your bets to see the probability of them hitting. Those update in real time throughout the game. So all you do is put in the bet you placed, how much money you bet, and the odds that you received. And throughout the game, it'll show you what your probability is of that bet hitting. Now, getting into the preview. After a week wildcard round where 4 of the 6 games were blowouts, we have 4 very exciting matchups in the divisional round, which is pretty much expected, and they expect to be pretty close. So I'll go in order with the NFL schedule, setting up the most anticipated matchup as the final matchup of the weekend. So we will get to that one at the end. Starting off, though, with the Saturday afternoon game is Cincinnati at Tennessee, the only game of the weekend that isn't a rematch from the regular season. Now, the Bengals held on to beat Las Vegas in the wild card round at home last Saturday. Play again on Saturday, traveling not too far south to face Tennessee, take on the 1-seed Titans. Now, Tennessee is in action after their first-round bye. They're expected to have all-world running back Derrick Henry back. I don't know if that's a guarantee yet, but it is expected. He's been back practicing for a couple weeks now. And now the Titans, though, haven't been particularly impressive this season, aside from that blowout win over Kansas City and the win over Buffalo in back-to-back weeks early on in the year. They come into the playoffs as the worst number 1 seed ever tracked in DVOA for Football Outsiders. The worst 1 or 2 seed, actually. Now, they're not the 2 seed, but they're worse than any 1 or 2 seed that's ever made the playoffs in terms of DVOA. But it is fair to note they are healthier now than they've been most of the season. Mike Vrabel has done a great job with what he's had to work with, considering all those injuries, getting them to the 1 seed, winning games, very late, winning games ugly where they didn't necessarily look like they deserved to win, but that's what matters. They won the games. They got the 1 seed. Still, Tennessee only 12th in weighted DVOA, weighted DVOA gives less weight to early season games. Again, that's from Football Outsiders, our partners over there. They actually are running a sale on their FO Plus premium subscription for just 99 cents a week. For annual subscriptions, you can get betting information from them as well. Fantasy information for next year, that would be season-long fantasy, preseason rankings, in-season weekly rankings, as well as DFS rankings as well. They've got some weekly daily fantasy information there too. So that's a really good one. Again, footballoutsiders.com/subscribe. As I was saying, though, Tennessee, 12th in weighted DVOA, only 20th in offense, 7th in defense, though. That's been the big surprise from them this year, is their defense was expected to be one of the bottom units in the league, but have been pretty good. Cincinnati, though, overall, not much better. 13th in weighted DVOA. They are 11th in offense, but only 25th in defense. So roles kind of reversed there. We've got a pretty good Cincinnati offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, what he's been able to do lately, going against the number 7 defense of Tennessee, and then Tennessee's 20th offense going against 25th ranked defense of Cincinnati. So strength on strength and weakness on weakness, I suppose. Still, we like Tennessee more than the market, actually. Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite in Vegas. It is up a point from 2.5 at open. Still a little, I don't know if disrespectful is the right word, considering they had the first round bye. They are the 1 seed, but still 3.5 points. Our edge fair value is Tennessee -6. So we give Tennessee 57.3% chance to cover that -3.5 value. Now, Cincinnati has won 5 straight against the spread, carried that streak over from the regular season into last week, covering the spread against Vegas. Tennessee 10-7 on the season, but 7 of those wins against the spread came in the first 9 games, only 3-5 since then, but they are 2-1 in their last 3. So Both teams have been pretty hot lately against the spread in the last few weeks. Over the last 5 or 6 weeks, though, 7 weeks, Cincinnati's had the advantage, winning 5 straight. Looking at the total, the market is at 47 points. It's up from 46 points at open. This one comes in, though, just a little bit below the San Francisco-Green Bay game for the lowest projected total of the week, 47 points. Our edge fair value is 49, so it is a little bit over. It is our lowest game of the week, though, and the only game we have below 50. So we give this game 58.1% chance to reach at least 47 points, but still, it is our lowest total of the week as well as the market. So not as much scoring expected in this one as in the other 3 games. Now, Cincinnati's games have the under is hit in 2 straight, but the Tennessee over hit in week 18 after 4 straight unders. So the unders have been pretty hot lately for both of these teams. So we'll see. We like the over. Again, though, still pretty low scoring projection for us relative to the other games. Now, I'm going to wrap the money line values just into the matchups here. Since there's only 4 games, we'll cover all of them instead of breaking that section out at the end. So the money line on this one, Tennessee has 71% chance to win straight up from the EdjSports model versus a market implied 64%. So we both like Tennessee, obviously. We like Tennessee about 7% more to win 7% more often than the market does. So a little bit of value to be had there for Tennessee. So recapping that matchup, their value on Tennessee to cover, I guess it's value for the money line as well to win straight up, and some value on the over. Tennessee 57.3% chance to cover minus 3.5, and 58.1% chance for this game to reach 47 points. Moving on to the second game of the weekend, the nightcap on Saturday, San Francisco at Green Bay. Now, this is a rematch from all the way back in week 3. Mason Crosby, if you don't remember, had a walk-off field goal after the 49ers scored a touchdown with 37 seconds left. But Green Bay had no timeouts. Aaron Rodgers had plenty of time. He was not nervous at all. Hit Devontae Adams over the middle a couple times to get them in field goal range, and Crosby did the rest. But San Francisco has had Green Bay's number in the playoffs. It's hard to forget 2 years ago when they dominated the Packers in the NFC Championship game in 2019. Raheem Mostert ran for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game. And that was the same season that the 49ers dominated the Packers in the regular season as well. And then back in 2012, San Francisco dominated them again in the divisional round. That was Colin Kaepernick's first playoff game where he just rushed for 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw for another 263 and 2 more touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns in that game. And then in between was San Francisco's walk-off field goal in the 2013 wildcard game up in Green Bay where it was, I think, minus 5 degrees, wind chill down around minus 15. Just the definition of the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, and San Francisco was able to come away with a win. So obviously, Green Bay is looking and expecting a different outcome and hoping to reach the NFC Championship game for the 3rd straight year and get Aaron Rodgers back to the Super Bowl. They are the favorites to win in Football Outsiders Super Bowl prediction, so expected to get there maybe, but it's close between them and Tampa Bay. Los Angeles looking really good, really any of these teams can make it at this point in the season, but Green Bay is the favorite there. Now, San Francisco is better in overall DVOA. They're 4th versus Green Bay at 9th, but the Green Bay offense is 1st in weighted DVOA versus offensive weighted DVOA. Sorry, the number 1 offense in weighted DVOA versus San Francisco's number 4 ranked defense in weighted DVOA. The defense for Green Bay, though, only 22nd versus San Francisco's 7th ranked offense in weighted DVOA. But there are a couple things to consider. Those numbers, as far as the Green Bay defense and San Francisco offense, could be a little misleading, maybe not misleading, but not apply as much to this one because we know Jimmy Garoppolo is dealing with a thumb and a shoulder injury now. Will he start? If so, how much will Trey Lance play? Imagine they'll try and give Jimmy G some breaks throughout the game and have some design packages for Lance. But also Green Bay getting healthy at the right time. Could have Zadarius Smith back for the first time since week 1, I believe. Jair Alexander has been out since around week 4, I think. And then David Bakhtiari played in his first game back in week 18, only played about 25, 30 snaps. Expected to be back full time in this game, I believe. And so they could have 3 huge pieces of their team back. And another thing to look at here is the coaching. I mean, Shanahan's been the talk of the league really on Sunday, even Monday into Tuesday with his decision making. Had 3 big errors last week, 3 of our top 5. Number 1 was that 4th and 1 punt with 2:51 left against Dallas was a 17% error. That's 2nd worst of the entire season. And he comes in only 22nd in CCI, our 4th down decision-making metric, critical call index, while Matt LaFleur, on the other hand, was our coach of the year last year. best coach in fourth down decision making and overall when it comes to just coaching between how the team has performed on the field and how he's done on fourth downs. This year comes in 7th in CCI, so has been very good once again, trusting Aaron Rodgers, as I don't know who wouldn't trust Aaron Rodgers to pick up some fourth downs. So anticipating a good game, but Green Bay comes in as the largest favorite of the weekend in the market, at least. Green Bay -6. It's up from 4.5 at open. Could have been on the Garoppolo news that he was dealing with a shoulder injury as well. Either way, they're the biggest favorite coming into this weekend. Our fair value, though, has Green Bay as only 3-point favorites. So we give San Francisco 57.3% chance to cover +6, 60.2% chance to push or cover +6. We know, how good they are running the ball, and Green Bay has struggled to stop the 49ers and the run. But it's going to be interesting to see how Green Bay game plans for that if they're able to stop them. But we give the 49ers a chance, 57.3% chance to cover that +6. Now, San Francisco has won 3 straight against the spread, 5-1 in their last 6, 5-1 straight up in that time. But they're facing a Green Bay team who's very good at covering as well. Although lately, only 3-3 in their last 6, and that is excluding Week 18 versus Detroit. Only played the starters for the first half. No one really knew how long they were going to play, so it was really tough to handicap that one. They did, though, have the second best cover rate on the season at 12-5, just behind Dallas. The best home cover rate in the regular season at 7-1. So we know how good they are at home. Really, the last 3 years have been very good under LaFleur at home. But it is worth noting, only 3-3 in the last 6, not counting that Week 18 game. Now, moving on to the total, the market's at 47.5. This actually comes in as our highest total of the week at 54 points. We give these two teams 68.2% chance to exceed 47.5 points. As I mentioned, 2 of the top 7 offenses, Rodgers and Green Bay, can really put up points even against those good defenses and even against San Francisco's number 5 defense here this weekend. Now, not supposed to be too cold, at least by January Green Bay standards. I think I saw around 18 at kickoff, wind chills in the single digits. So not, bitterly cold like we've seen in the past. Shouldn't really limit the game plan too much for either team. We know Green Bay is used to it and can throw the ball as well in the cold as they can anywhere else in any other type of weather. But the under has hit in 4 out of San Francisco's last 5. The over has hit in 5 of Green Bay's last 6, excluding that Week 18 versus Detroit, although that one was over if you wanted to count that one in there. But so 2 different kind of trends here with San Francisco staying under, Green Bay going over. We like the over, though, again, over 68% chance. Now, the money line on this, as you can imagine, we like San Francisco to cover, so we like them to win a little bit more often than the market. We've got them at 38%, so almost 2 out of 5. The market has them at 32%, at least the market implied win probability is 32, so just under 1 out of 3. So recapping that matchup between San Francisco and Green Bay, value on San Francisco to cover and some strong value on the over. We've got San Francisco, again, 60.2% chance to push or cover +6, and 68.2% chance for this game to exceed 47.5 points. Moving on to the first game on Sunday, the Rams at the Buccaneers, rematch from Week 3. The Rams won that one 34-24. They also won the matchup last season in the regular season, 27-24. As I'm sure you've heard, Matt Stafford won his first playoff game last week. Absolutely dominated Arizona on Monday night, just completely blew them out of the water. Tampa Bay blew out Philadelphia on Sunday afternoon, so 2 big wins for these teams. Pretty evenly matched. The Rams 3rd in weighted DVOA, Tampa Bay 6th. Now, the Rams' offense has been good, but in weighted DVOA, only 13th. 3rd in defense, though, while Tampa Bay 2nd in offense, 9th in defense. So top 10 in both of those metrics. The Rams just outside the top 10 at 13th in offense, but still two top 6 teams in overall weighted DVOA. The coaching is a pretty even matchup for not necessarily a great reason. Neither coach has really been aggressive on 4th downs. Maybe those 2 defenses has something to do with it. They want to trust their defense. But Sean McVay, only 25th in CCI. Again, that's that 4th down decision-making metric. Bruce Arians 30th, which is pretty common from him the last few years. He really, I don't want to say, it's kind of said this earlier, Coach Rankings show we did. I don't really want to say he doesn't trust Tom Brady, but maybe they trust their defenses more so than their offense on one play and just really believe in those defenses to get a stop. So we could see that some more, see them trust their defense, play the field position game to win this instead of going for it on 4th down. So maybe one of them will surprise us, come out and be aggressive early on and really set the tone and lead to a win. But we'll have to see. Not expecting it. If either one was going to do that, it would be McVay for me. He's been, while not in the top half of the league necessarily in fourth down decision making, is typically around the middle of the league. So I would put my money on McVay if one of those coaches is going to come out aggressive on fourth downs. Now, looking at the spread on this, for the second week in a row, we're spot on the market with the Los Angeles Rams game. Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite. In the market, we've got them as 3-point favorites. So Tampa Bay does have a slight edge to cover, 48%. The Rams are at 44.3, but that's because the 3 points is our most common outcome, and it happens a lot in the model. So if we include the chance to push or cover, Tampa Bay has an advantage at 55.7% of our simulations. They push or cover, so they win by 3 or more. Now, some notes on the spreads here. Los Angeles is 5-2 in their last 7 against the spread. They've lost 2 of 3, though. So overall, the last couple of months, they've been really good. But here in the last few weeks, they've only won 1 against the spread. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, 7-2 in their last 9. 3 of their last 4 against the spread they've won. The second best home cover rate at 7-2, which includes last week's game. So both teams have been good against the spread. Again, expecting a close game. Could be a push here at 3 points. That is our most common outcome. And as the market spread, would not be surprised to see a 3-point victory from the Bucs here. Now the total comes out at 48.5. It is the second highest of the week out of the 4 games. Our edge fair value is a little bit higher, though, at 51. So we give this nearly 60% chance to go over at 59.7% chance to exceed 48.5 points. So that's 49 or more points. Now, the Rams have alternated overs and unders in the last 9. If that trend continues, the over would hit this week. So now for Tampa Bay, no real trend for them. They've just kind of been mixed in throughout the season. The under did hit last week, but the over hit the previous 2. So not really sure if you can take anything from that Rams trend I mentioned. Just something I noticed. They go back and forth over the last 9. So it looks like the over would be next, and our model likes the over in this one. Now, looking at the money line values here, win probability, we've got Tampa Bay at 61% chance to win. Market implied 60%. And that's not really a surprise considering we're spot on that market spread of 3 points. So just a very slight advantage for Tampa Bay compared to the market, but really nothing to be had as far as a discounted price in the market. So recapping this one, very slight value on Tampa Bay to cover against the Rams, some value on the over. So 55.7% chance to push or cover, -3. 59.7% chance for this game to exceed 48.5 points. And moving on to the last game of the weekend, the marquee matchup of the week. I know divisional round, all of these matchups should be great, highly anticipated, highly hyped matchups. This one, though, is the cream of the crop. NFL saved the best for last. The rematch we've all been waiting for, Kansas City at Buffalo, Buffalo at Kansas City. Chiefs and Bills. Now, Buffalo won handily back in week 5, 38-20 on that Sunday night game, but they're looking to avenge last season's AFC Championship game loss to the Chiefs. That regular season win was nice, but would not be as nice as a chance to get to the Super Bowl. Again, moving on to the AFC Championship game this year. Got to get past the Chiefs to do it, though, who have been there in the Super Bowl the last 2 years. Now, Buffalo has the advantage here in the underlying metrics. Number 1 in weighted DVOA. Kansas City, number 6. Buffalo is number 4 in offense, while Kansas City is number 3. So 2, as we know, very good offenses. Buffalo's defense, though, number 5. Kansas City only number 14. These are all weighted DVOA numbers. So that is factoring in the back half of the season more, though Kansas City was number 10 in defense in the second half of the season from week 10 through week 17. That number 14 ranking includes some of the midseason games, I believe. It does not include weeks 1 through 4. It would include 5, 6, 7, 8, middle of the season where they were struggling a little bit, but at a discounted weight. So most of the weight is on the back half of the season. And again, they were number 10 defense in the second half of the season from week 10 through 17. Now, as we know, Josh Allen for Buffalo, Patrick Mahomes versus the Chiefs, perhaps the 2 best young quarterbacks in the game. No disrespect to the Joe Burrow and the Justin Herbert, but these guys have been doing it for a couple of years now. We're at the top of the league. Now, Mahomes is a top 5 quarterback in DYAR, another stat from Football Outsiders, which looks at their value against replacement level players. It's their defense adjusted yards above replacement and is a full season aggregate. Josh Allen, number 11, that's just looking at passing, though. We know how he can run the ball. So really a dual threat there. Mahomes can run. We don't see him run as much. Allen, though, running is a big part of his game. Both of the offenses top 10 in both the pass and the rush. So really not a ton more to say about this matchup, just how evenly matched they are. And you will see how evenly matched we have these two teams in just a minute. Can't wait for this one, though, as the weekend's final matchup. So looking at the spread, this one actually just dropped within the last hour since I was looking at it a little bit earlier. It was -2 for Kansas City earlier. It's down to 1.5, which is down from 2.5 at open. Our edge fair value, you'll see on our site, we have it at -1. It's pretty much a pick 'em. So Buffalo, 52.2% chance to cover plus 1.5, but the win probability split is where I was pretty shocked when I saw it. It's pretty much as close as you can get. Buffalo, 50.05% chance to win. This is 0.5% in either direction from being a true 50-50 game. So this one, it's hard really to pick either way, to be honest. We're looking at the spread. I mean, it is such a low spread at 1.5. Buffalo would be the edge. Again, we have about 52.2%, but still just such a small edge there for Buffalo. We have 50.05% for Buffalo win probability. Now, the Bills are 4-0-1 against the spread in their last 5. Kansas City did win last week against the spread, covered handily against the Steelers, but they're 1-2 in their last 3 after winning 6 straight prior to those losses. So they lost week 17 and 18 against the spread, won last week. But from weeks 11 through 16, they lost won all 6 of those. So been pretty good over the course of the last few months, but only 1-2 in their last 3. So this one, if they win, they're pretty much going to cover, unless they obviously only win by 1 point, but would expect this one. Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't expect it to be more than 1 point. So, because it is so evenly matched, but we will see. Again, Buffalo hasn't lost against the spread in their last 5. Now, the total is where this one is fun as well. The market is 54.5, up from 53.5 at open, by far, or easily the largest total of the weekend. Ours is at 53. It is our second highest of the weekend, just 1 point shy of that San Francisco versus Green Bay game. But at 54.5, it's the only game that's higher than 48.5 in the market when it comes to those totals. So expecting a lot of points. And I know the Arrowhead Stadium ran out of fireworks last week for the Chiefs. They better order a little bit extra this week, because we're expecting points from both teams. Obviously, they're only going to shoot off fireworks for the Chiefs, but expecting a lot of points from both teams. So expecting a lot of points from Kansas City as well. So we've got this one, though, 55% chance to fall short of 54.5. So again, we still have it as our second highest of the week, 53, pretty close to that market. Expecting a lot of points, but just a slight edge for this one in favor of the under. Now, the Buffalo over is 3-2 in the last 5, only 1-2 in the last 3, though. Kansas City, though, 6 straight overs. So the only 2 of those 6 games were under 54 points. So their games have been going pretty high lately. So this one, again, it's just so close on that. It's a 1.5 point difference, but still 55% chance is not a huge edge. But the edge model does like the under just a bit. Again, repeat that money line for you too. 50.05% chance to win versus a market implied 48. So basically 2% more often Buffalo wins in our model simulations versus what the market is implying for their win probability. So recapping this one, very slight value on Buffalo to cover at 52.2% chance to cover plus 1.5. Slight value on that under at 55%. So that will wrap up our divisional round previews. Just a quick recap, going to run through those real quick for those of you keeping track at home if you missed any of those. Cincinnati at Tennessee. Titans, 57.3% chance to cover, -3.5 according to the Edge model. And 58.1% chance for that game to reach at least 47 points. Saturday night, San Francisco at Green Bay. San Francisco 49ers, 60.2% chance to push or cover, +6. And 68.2% chance for this game to exceed 47.5 points. That is the highest number on any of these bets, any of these totals or spreads. 68.2 highest confidence among all 8 of these. Los Angeles Rams at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers 55.7% chance to push or cover -3. So that is to win by a field goal or more. And 59.7% chance for that game to exceed 48.5 points. And then Buffalo at Kansas City, the marquee matchup. Buffalo, 52.2% chance to cover plus 1.5. Very, very slight. 55% chance for that game to fall short of 55 points. A little bit more, but still slight edge on that. So that will do it for the divisional round betting preview. Be sure to check out all of our pregame betting insights for the playoffs on EdjSports.com in our EdjSports app. And come back on Monday to hear our weekend recap of all of these games. We'll look at the biggest win probability swings, the best fourth down decisions. We expect to see a few. The worst fourth down decisions. They also expect to see a few of those. Hopefully more of the former than the latter. We'd love to see aggression from coaches on fourth downs, but you will have to come back on Monday and listen to the podcast to see what we think about those decisions. Please subscribe to the EdjSports Podcast Network on your preferred podcast platform. Give us a 5-star review. Help us grow our audience. Get the betting previews. Get the post-game analysis out to as many people as we can. And don't forget to subscribe to our EdjSports YouTube channel. That one's awesome. You can see all of our matchup previews for every game. This week, I covered all of them here in this podcast. But normally throughout the season, I'll pick out 3 or 4 to cover here. And you'll have a matchup video for every game where we'll go over the spreads and the total. So you won't want to miss those of every game of every week. And then don't forget to check back on Wednesdays for our next head coach rankings update. This week we had our Chief Innovation Officer and EdjSports co-founder, Frank Frigo, on to talk about his risky business column from last week, dissecting some of Kyle Shanahan's decisions that I mentioned briefly here against the Dallas Cowboys, as well as looking at that last play of the game that had everyone wondering what was going on for the Cowboys when Dak Prescott ran it up the middle and they ran out of time to get a shot at the end zone. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out all of our content and enjoy the divisional round action.